All light particles are alike. All light particles are either expressing the mother light principle or the father light principle. For example, if a particle is on the amplitude of the wave, it would be a true sphere, and as a true sphere, it would be neither positive nor negative. It might then appropriately be called a neutron. A particle which is spirally heading inward toward the apex of a vortex in the process of becoming a sphere might appropriately be called a proton because of it expressing the father light principle. Again, if it is moving spirally outward, it could appropriately be called an electron because it would then be discharging in excess of its charge or expanding in excess of its contraction. Light rays, for example, leaving the sun, are discharging the sun. They are also discharging themselves because they are expanding into great volume. They are also lowering their own potential by multiplying their volume. They reverse their polarity when radially converging upon the earth. They are then charging the earth and themselves by contracting into smaller volume and simultaneously multiplying their own potential by thus contracting. Semi-cyclic alteration. In an electric current, there is a constant interchange between anode and cathode, or positive and negative poles. A light particle expands as it leaves the anode in an outward radial direction, and contracts as it radially approaches the anode. This light particle has been the same light particle at all times in all parts of its journey. Its variation of charge and discharge, its direction of motion and condition of wave pressure in which it finds itself at any time are the sole reasons for it changing from one condition to another. The light particles are all the same light particles, all being different only in pressure condition. This is also true of the elements of matter, whether they be iron, carbon, silicon, bismuth, or radium. All are composed of the same kind of light particles. They all seem to have different qualities and attributes, but those qualities and attributes are likewise given to them purely by the position they occupy in their waves. All things simulate light. A particle of light which belongs to an atomic system of sodium has in it all of the entire range of the elements besides all of every other creating thing in the universe. It acts to carry out the purposefulness of the ideal of sodium simply because it is in the pressure condition of sodium and is a part of the unfolding pattern of the seed of inert gas of the octave from which it has unfolded. If this same particle unfolded from the seed of the oak, it would be part of the wood fiber of its trunk or leaf or of the chlorophyll which colored its leaves, but it would be the same kind of particle while fulfilling the purpose of cellulose as while fulfilling the purpose of sodium. All matter in this universe is but differently conditioned motion simulating light, and all differences in condition are pressure differences. Light does not travel. The speed with which light presumably travels is 186,400 miles per second. The distance between stars is so great that the speed of light is computed as light years, for the distance computed by lesser units of time would yield figures so great that they would be meaningless. Light only seems to travel. It is but one more of the countless illusions caused by wave motion. Waves of the ocean seem to traverse the ocean, but they only appear to do so, for waves are pistons in the universal engines, and pistons operate up and down. Wave pistons of light or of the ocean operate radially and spirally, inward and outward, toward and away from gravity. Waves of light do not travel. They reproduce each other from wave field to wave field of space. The plane of zero curvature, which bound all wave fields, acts as mirrors to reflect light from one field to another. This sets up an appearance of light as traveling, which is pure illusion. The sunlight we feel upon our bodies is not actual light from the sun. What actually is happening is that the sun is reproducing its own condition on the earth by extending the reproductions out through cold space into ever-enlarging wave fields until those reproductions begin to converge again toward our center of gravity into even smaller wave fields. The heat we feel and the light we see are dependent entirely upon the ability of the wave fields to reproduce the light and heat, and that ability is conditioned upon the amount of moisture in the atmosphere. If there were no moisture in the atmosphere, our bodies would carbonize from the heat thus reproduced. One cannot consistently think of that heat as direct rays of the sun, for the same sunlight was intensely cold during its reproduced journey through the immensely expanded wave fields of space between the sun and earth. The light and heat which appear to come from the star or sun have never left the star or sun. That which man sees as light and feels as heat are the reproduced counterparts of the light and heat which are at its cause. The rate of vibration in a wave field depends upon its volume. Vibration in a wave field means the plus of interchange between its compressed core and the space surrounding that core. A slow vibration in a large wave field would cool one's body or even freeze it, while fast pulsing interchange in extremely small wave fields could burn one's body. A lens which multiplies light and heat toward a focal point which sets paper on fire merely compresses larger wave fields into smaller ones. The rate of vibration increases for the same reason that the planets nearest the sun move much faster in their small orbits than those which are far away from the sun. Kepler's law covering the speed of planets will apply to rates of vibration in wave fields as appropriately as with the movements of the solar system. Words from God. The imaged universe of my dual thinking is a two-way interchanging between unbalanced lever ends of light which extend from me, their fulcrum of power in rest, and return to me. Behold in me the fulcrum of my changing universe, which manifests change, though I change not nor move. For I am rest, in me alone is balance. He who would find power must know that it extends from me, that I am me. That I am he. He who would find rest must return to me, be fulcrum of his own power. That was from the Divine Iliad. Next chapter, cycles. All energy is expressed in wave cycles. A cycle is a two-way electric journey from a compression point of rest where gravity ceases and radiation begins, to an expansion point of rest at wave field boundaries where radiation ceases and gravity begins. It is the universal heartbeat of this pulsing universe of two-wave motion. The life-death cycle of man is one wave in an electric current. Growth and decay, or the incoming-outgoing breath, are two halves of cycles. Matter is expressed in two-way cycles because matter is but a record of God's knowing, expressed by the two opposed desires of his two-way, self-voiding thinking. All nature is an expression of the two desires of the Creator, the desire for separation from the oneness of rest in him into a multiplicity of imaged forms of his imagining, and for avoidance of that multiplicity by return to rest in his oneness.